My partner's girlfriend found me in his bed. I really don't know what to feel. I'm obviously angry and sad, but also relieved and amused to find this out like this. So last night, I, F23, stayed at my boyfriend's, M24, house. We've been together for 3 years and planned on moving in together in January. Boyfriend works early, and I usually leave his flat during his workday. Last night though, I for some reason didn't sleep well, so I woke up around 1 p.m. I decided to stay over, because it's only 3 more hours until he gets back to work. I did his dishes and cleaned a little, then went back for a little nap. I woke up to the door. I heard 2 people talking and laughing, my boyfriend and a woman. I heard my boyfriend enter the shower and the woman came into the bedroom. I immediately got up, and we stared at each other quietly for a long time. I'd never seen her in my life. She said, "We might want to leave," quietly enough for my boyfriend not to hear the conversation. I quickly collected my things, put on my shoes and coat. My boyfriend exited the shower right then. I just walked past him and didn't say a thing. Me and the woman got out of the door together, and he started shouting after us, but didn't chase after us. He was butt exposed. Turns out, the woman thought my boyfriend was single, and they had a fling for 3 months. She apologized many times to me, but I reassured her it was okay. I didn't think my boyfriend would be so stupid to start a fling, or bring her home before checking whether I'm still there or not. Apparently he got a little too arrogant and comfortable with my stupidity. I haven't responded to his calls or texts, for now. I'm heartbroken but relieved about finding this out before moving in with him.
I inappropriately touched my friend while we were cuddling. I, 20 male, have been sharing my bedroom with my friend, 21 female, since she had no place to stay for a few weeks. The other night, we started cuddling and I had my arms wrapped around her in a way that my hands ended up resting on her chest. After a while, my mind got filled with so many horny, indecent thoughts, and I ended up squeezing her chest a bit. She was awake during this time but didn't move it do anything. The next day I felt alright, but throughout the day I slowly began to realize what I've done, and I ended up throwing up at work and couldn't eat anything at all. I feel so shit and disgusted with myself, as I threw away built-up trust in one of my closest friendships just to satisfy my urges. I feel so bad that I just want to isolate myself from everything and shrivel away. I always thought I was better than all the men people talk and complain about, but here I am, sexually touching my friend when I know we don't have that kind of relationship. She said she's been through worse and that she gives people second chances, but I don't feel deserving of one. I want to say I'd never do it again, but I didn't think I'd do it in the first place, so my words and values mean very little anymore. I feel so sorry and wish I could undo my actions or make up for them, but this kind of damage feels irreversible. I just want to isolate myself and rot away. I think my boyfriend is or was in an incestuous relationship with his sister. I know this sounds ridiculous, but listen before you call me insane. I'm writing this because I can't sleep. I have dated him for a year. He's Italian and I am an American student in Rome. Looking back, there has been signs even early on. I took all of this as cultural at first. On one of our first dates we were talking about our families and he showed me a picture of his sister and raved about her beauty. She is actually gorgeous, she's a classic Italian beauty and very chic. I was jealous of her then but had no idea where this was going to go. I have only been around her a handful of times but she has made it clear she does not approve of us dating. She's icy, distant, and hostile. She has said in front of me that he should be with an Italian. She speaks several languages including English, but every time I've tried to talk to her in English, she replies in Italian. You are in Italy, speak Italian. She once told me he'll be gone soon. My boyfriend is openly very affectionate with her. He dances with her and whispers in her ear, kisses her cheek and the side of her mouth, hugs her closely. Every time I've seen them together he's brought her a nice gift. People here are generally affectionate but everything combined is off. Once at a family dinner I was helping his mom with the food and he and his sister went out on the patio. I looked out and she was sitting on his lap. What sister does that? I also have seen her caress his bare chest at the beach. This same time at the beach, he carried her in the water with her legs wrapped around his waist and his hands were practically on her ass. If they did this when they thought I couldn't see, what do they do when they're really alone? He's also gotten into a physical fight with her boyfriend but I'm not sure what it was over. Earlier tonight my feeling got a lot worse. He never leaves his phone sitting around but he did this time. He got a message from her and I looked over. She said, "My heart is yours, my king. And we were made for each other." Edit to clarify, this is a translation from Italian. I left without telling him. He blew up my phone but I have no idea what to say to him. This has been my best relationship but this cannot be normal, can it? I am sick to my stomach and feel mortified thinking about this.
My mother-in-law DNA tested our daughter and told my husband she isn't his. Posted from my throwaway account. Trigger warning, mention of SA. My 45F husband, 48M, and I have been together for 25 years, We have 3 kids: F8, M15, and F17. My husband and I had a lot of trouble conceiving our daughter. We went through several years with no luck and had seen a fertility doctor who had prescribed some medication to help with ovulation. We couldn't afford IVF, so we were going to try this last thing and then look into adoption. Long story short, I was SA'd during a burglary while my husband was out with his brother. It was right when I was to be ovulating. At the hospital I took EC even though I knew it would undo all the hard work, medication, and mean we wouldn't be able to have a baby of our own. But I couldn't risk getting pregnant with my R-words baby. After a few months I'd been feeling off, sick, down. I figured I was just depressed after the SA and I hadn't been eating. But I soon found out I was pregnant. We were so excited until I went to my appointment and found out I was 15 weeks instead of the 5 or 6 weeks I thought I was. I had been having really irregular problems since the EC, so didn't even imagine I was that far along. My husband and I were devastated because that meant there was so much uncertainty surrounding paternity. We had our ultrasound, and as soon as we saw the baby on the screen I knew I couldn't have an abortion, and my husband didn't want to either. We talked and went back and forth about adoption and if the baby didn't end up being his or what we would do, and he said he didn't care about paternity, we just wouldn't find out. We decided to wait until our child was older to tell them and they could decide if they wanted to find out themselves. I will also note at this point my case was unsolved but had been linked to other SAs at the time. A few years ago my RP was caught and a year ago finally sentenced. At the hearing I spoke and my daughter and son knew about it, but I didn't go into details, but they knew I was attacked but only knew it was before they were born. Last Christmas my mother-in-law bought my daughter and only my daughter a 23andMe for Christmas. I thought it was extremely weird but didn't think too much of it. Thinking back I don't know why I didn't see it for what it was. My daughter was equally confused and asked if I wanted to do it instead. I'm adopted. I said sure and just gave my daughter an Amazon gift card for the price of the test. My daughter brought it to my attention that my mother-in-law has been overly critical of my daughter in the last few months, commenting on her differences. Saying things like, "I wonder where those eyes came from, hair, height." She even said to my daughter, "I wonder why you're so skinny." My daughter looks exactly like me, the same eyes color, same hair color and texture, but she is quite a bit taller than me. I'm 5'8", she's 6 feet. I'm on the heavier side, so is my husband, and my daughter is extremely thin, but she is also an athlete. I've never had any reason to believe from looks alone that she is not my husband's daughter. After my daughter brought it to my attention how my mother-in-law was acting, I spoke with her and she said, "Oh, she's just being sensitive." This was a couple months ago. A couple nights ago my mother-in-law invited my husband and I out for dinner, and told us to leave the kids at home because she had something important to discuss with us. We did. We went to a restaurant. We're eating and my mother-in-law hands me and my husband 2 separate envelopes. My husband and I both look in the envelope and they are DNA comparison results. I asked my mother-in-law what it was and she said, "The proof that you're the garbage I always knew you were." I was extremely confused. I asked whose DNA she compared, and as I said that I just knew, she said my husband and my daughter. My husband looked at me and he looked so hurt and lost. I will never get that image out of my head as long as I live. I called her a heartless C and my husband and I left. I blocked her number from mine and my kids' phones, but figured my husband needed to make that decision on his own. My husband told me last night my mother-in-law called him and he stopped by after work at her house. She was telling my husband she's known for a while and suspected for a very long time and that she wasn't sure how to approach the topic with him. My husband asked how she knew that. She said she overheard my brother-in-law talking to his wife and heard our daughter may not be his. My mother-in-law took that to mean that I cheated, so she did a DNA test. Last year around the hearing my husband got drunk and ended up mentioning the hearing and some details to my brother-in-law. Apparently that night while sleeping he said, "I couldn't protect her and what if she's not mine?" My husband was extremely drunk and did not remember doing this. My mother-in-law does not know that I was SA, but she does know there was a break-in and I was attacked. She kept trying to convince my husband to leave me. My husband told her what she did was unforgivable and that he is going to cut her off. My husband is inconsolable. He's so upset he told his mother to F off and then told her that my attack was actually an SA, and that's who our daughter's biological father is. It still makes me sick to say that. Well, she tried to apologize, but my husband told her he can't forgive her, and not to contact any of us. I told everyone my mother-in-law DNA tested our daughter and we were done with her. I have 7 siblings, 5 think I'm in the right. The other 2 and my brother-in-law can't believe mother-in-law did that but understands why, because she didn't have the entire story and assumed I wasn't being truthful to my husband. But even if I wasn't, I can't imagine being a parent so concerned with my child's relationship that I would go to those lengths to meddle.